those videos.
And we're live. Welcome to the Killer Be Killed podcast. I am with my good buddies George and Josh. And so what we're saying about the weather?
It sucks.
It's
just not stopping up here. And I hear it's going like all over too. I mean, the US is getting it as well, but what the hell?
I'm like, okay, hunker down, listen up, and enjoy. So today we're going to start with our wacky martial artists.
Oh,
now I'm looking. So let me get here. All right. So now we're going to show you, and again, this is the same. This just happens to be a woman. I see. It doesn't matter because I've seen this stuff for guys and girls. It's the same. It's the same crap. Let me share screen. Okay, she's public, so she's out there. I don't want to say her name a bunch, but Sifu. It's been in martial arts for 47 years. If those of you who don't know, Sifu is Chinese for sensei, and sensei means just teacher in Japanese. If you went to a school in Japan, your third grade teacher would be sensei. So 47 years with the top instructors around the world. She's one of a handful of women to attain full instructorship in Junfan, Jeet Kune Do, and the Filipino martial arts under Don Anasanto, the late Bruce Lee protege. Current credentials in school include, God, I can't even speak, full instructorship, as I just mentioned, instructor level 1 in Mafalindo Silat, senior full instructor in Wing Chun Kung Fu under Sifu Francis Fong in Atlanta. I know who he is too. Associate instructor under Arjun Chai Shiritsu.
and Muay Thai. Yep.
In Muay Thai, Thai boxing. Black belt in CS Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu under Sensei Eric Paulson. Don't know what CS Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is. If you know, put it in the comments. Probably not going to know. Coach level 1 in combat submission wrestling with Eric Paulson. Studied several different types of pensock salat, including Mande Muda and with the late Pak Herman Swanda, and Sarek with Pak Victor the Taurus. I don't know what Sarek is, but okay. Full instructor in Filipino martial arts, Kali Salat. Here we go. Third Dan, Shurun-Ryu Karate. Fifth Dan, Shinto Yoshin Jiu-Jitsu. Second Dan, Taekwondo. Brown belt, Kempo Jiu-Jitsu. Okay. And it goes into all about training. I mean, an impressive resume.
Yes. In theory.
In theory. I'm going to tell you just from the start, everybody coming from a life in martial arts, a lot of this stuff is, well, let me pull up let's watch her video first. Okay. Now, let me just, okay. All right, let me just
pull, locks, bang, and learning to what? Pull, locks, bang.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
You pull locks out of it. Now, you don't have to take that fall. Don't really care. And you can counter it.
Yes.
If you counter it, then we just go to this. Boom, to something else. Because now I can what? Stretch out the arm.
Oh, wow.
Bang. Oh.
Oh, that's cool. Ow. What did you do there, the last one?
What?
It's,
That?
oh, you dropping me in my ribs. Okay. Oh man.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm going to just start by saying that none of the, I don't even, this only works in this situation. None of this works. Even, the premise of, this gunting, which is from Filipino martial arts, like slapping the hands and stuff like that. I mean, okay, if somebody, I don't even know when you would actually do this. If somebody's standing in front of you, just putting their hands up. But even then, there's like there's no power or anything behind this, right? I can't, I'm trying to, this is just movie stuff.
It would look really good in a movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the optics of old lady like doing, twisty wrist kung fu. I mean, that wasn't even a real punch, right? And I understand they're doing slow. It's a demo, but even fast, it's not working. There's no like the impact she's creating. She's not even moving her hips on her strike. It's you're getting these with zero resistance. This is a life of like, right? It's a cult is really what we're looking at. And this is not just, this is rampant. And these are the people who will, argue with us on, everything. They're doing this crap, right? And none of this on any level works. Do you think this kid looks like he's played any contact sport in his life? I mean, this is like someone who does not do physical contact, maybe does point sparring. Maybe.
So what I noticed about this video too is like the one thing where he's like, "Oh, what was that? Oh, that really hurt." I felt that one was she dropped him in the ribs with his knee. It's like the simplest thing you could do, and he was like, "Oh, that one was effective."
Right, and dude, that's like just laying on with your kids. I mean, that's not. I mean, if you did any sort of grappling, where you actually, if that kid actually like got in with somebody who could wrestle or do BJJ or judo, and someone who knows how to put your weight on them, I think you'd have an aneurysm.
Yep.
I'm like, this is what happens when, you just like everybody gets into the same mindset and, there's like group think that, oh yeah, this is cool. That looks cool. That works. Look, I feel discomfort. There's nothing she's doing there that a normal person would have just pulled her arm out and turn and face her, even if you get to that point.
Right?
It
would have been all over in her first real punch if I had dropped her.
What's amazing is like if somebody just was like, okay, here, I'm throwing a jab and then I'm throwing a right cross. I'm just trying to if I just started flailing punches at you, she's dead.
Yeah.
Dead. None of this is working, but again, it works. What's the difference between this and a death touch? The one finger knockout shit. It's the same mindset. They all get into this whole, psychosis and they all buy into this because again, it looks cool. I want it to work. I'm spending my money. So it has to work.
Now,
I mean, first off, action is always going to beat reaction, like always to start. And then and then the rest of it is just all complete compliancy on his part. He just fucking stands there. Like, just go ahead.
She's not done anything to injure him.
Yeah.
Nothing to there. And you're not going to get that on somebody who is non-compliant. If somebody, and the way that it was explained to me, which I like, wrist locks work on people you could give a verbal command to and they'll listen. If they're like, sit down, they sit down. You probably could put a wrist lock on them if you were a cop, right? Yeah. But you're better off just sit down. Better put your hands behind your back, that crap. There's no need to grab them. There's no need to create discomfort. Just give the verbal command. That'll work. If they don't, well, then you got to do something else. You're not doing this. So, I just, getting back to this.
Tim Marshall says that dude's a Wing Chun teacher.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Tim. Yeah, he's in the cult. They're all in the cult. Like when you walk in, I go, and this is what I don't like, what I worry about with our stuff. It's like, I don't want to be in the cult, right? I like when Josh challenges me. I like when George asks a question. I like when people are like, oh, why don't you do that? Why don't you do that? I like when, because I want to be challenged. I don't want to sit there and be like, oh, no. I said like, oh yeah, everybody's, oh yeah, man, it's awesome. Oh yeah. I know when people look at it and they're like, oh, well, what does that do? But I know when I sit there and I work with somebody and I show them and all of a sudden they're like, holy crap, I've never felt anything like that. Right. When you're hacking at somebody with an edge of hand and you're trying to run them over, like, oh, yeah. So,
that's why whenever I'm teaching somebody, I always let them do like something that seems really simple, but I have them do that to me, right? Not just to the dummy.
Right.
But I'm like, just don't do it 100%, And they'll do it. I'll be like, do it like 50%. They're like, okay. And they do it, and then they see my reaction, and I'm like, I was bracing against it, right? I'm telling them like I'm gonna brace against it, and they're like, wow, it had that much effect at 50%, and I'm like, yeah. Now go back to hit the dummy.
Right. Yeah. So when you get into this, and I've seen it with like traditional martial arts. I mean, I've seen this stuff all over the place. I knew who Dan Isanto was. I knew who Francis Fong was. They got cool Asian names. I mean, Dan Isanto was a stud.
Yep.
I mean, obviously, Bruce Lee was Bruce Lee. But again, it's like these guys, like, Bruce Lee was like more of a philosopher, and, he had an ideology. I mean, it wasn't like, and he was not, a lot of stuff I totally agree with. But, these people like take, his disciples like take this stuff and run with it. And, Bruce was doing judo, after he messed around with Gene LaBelle, and it's like, hey man, I think I need to do this. I don't see any of these guys doing judo. I mean, if you're doing judo or jiu-jitsu, I'm like half that stuff you're gonna be like, yeah, no, that's not working. That's not working. But you're seeing this stuff, and what you're seeing is a freaking cult. And then it's like Shonryu karate, taekwondo. It's like, yeah, dude. I mean, there's people that are, it's, some stuff's hard, some stuff's not.
It's one of the things I love about Jackie Chan, right? So Jackie Chan, obviously, super flashy martial arts, right? And I was watching an interview that he was doing one time, and someone was like, well, what would you do if you got in like a real, self-defense fight kind of situation? And he was like, what I do is theater martial arts. He was like, if I got in a real fight with somebody, he's like, I would just punch him in the face and run.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were like, wait, really? And he was like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, these people, they don't understand, and they're seeing that because, again, you're getting visual confirmation, right? And it's like, yeah, okay, he's doing it. That could work. That could work. I'm like, no, it couldn't. No, it couldn't.
Yeah.
If you're against any, once you understand what happens to your body when when you're under that stress, you're only doing like a couple things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like this stuff, it's all fine motor skill stuff. You're not doing it. You're not doing anything to imbalance the person. You're not doing it. Like, there's not even really any striking. And these like small, tight, limited range of movements are useless in a fight. When I say, like, when you talk about like Bruce Lee's 3-inch punch, I'm like, that was a demonstration on like physiology. It's not a self-defense move. It's about incorporating body mechanics and putting everything behind your strike, which goes the same for swinging a baseball bat, kicking a soccer ball, throwing a real punch. I mean, you like are driving from your feet and through your hips and off the ground. And like, yeah, he just packaged it in a cool, martial arts Asian kind of way. And again, not wrong, but not self-defense moves. So like any of these like little like taps and crap like that in the street, in a fight where he's moving and you're moving and so you're gonna just want to put your hand up, which isn't, which is okay, whatever. But I mean, it's not gonna have, an effect of, this guy making this is, that. Just put your hand out, dude. What are you doing? Right? Counter it. Who's going to counter? Right here, I'm just pulling my hand out and pushing you away, Grandma. I mean, I shouldn't say that. That's disrespectful. But I'm just saying, like, now, she's doing this stuff. But again, here's a person who's also been lied to her entire life in this stuff. That's a long time. Yeah. But, you go take some, like, look, man, there's ranks I got that I don't talk about. I mean, because, I showed up at some place for a weekend and the guy's like, oh, yeah, you're 10th Dan now. I'm like, I'm a what? Like, yeah, okay.
That's like my cousins. They go to this place and they get a belt stripe every class they show up.
Yes, of course.
And my kids were like, oh, it's ridiculous. They're like, they have literally stripes going around their entire belt.
Right. Right. Because we want you to keep coming back.
Because they want you to keep coming back.
Like, make another stripe. I can't, again, I like watch this stuff and all I do is think about 1984 to 92, right? Because stuff is just all around me. And you're like, what is that? What is, does that, and it gets sucked into the Bruce Lee thing. And, it's like, and it's funny because it's, to me, it's like it's like if I went to the Derrick Henry School of Running Backs, right? Then all of a sudden I'm naturally thinking I'm as good as Derrick Henry, right? So when you're throwing around like the Bruce Lee name or the Gracie name or the other stuff, I mean, yeah, these are all, but it's like you automatically think, yes, oh, I'm learning that system. That's, like you're taking out one key factor. You are not Bruce Lee. So, if that's like, listen, think of Derrick Henry. And you're like, okay, I want to be that good. So I'm going to do Derrick Henry's workout. And then after 3 years, I'm like, okay, let's go to an NFL tryout. Let's see what happens next. I know what's going to happen next. It's going to hurt a lot. Well, they're probably not going to have any contact, but still, I mean, you're going to be very slow and very weak. And that's it. So stop it. It just doesn't, all of this doesn't, it's like, you're looking at this list of people and I think of things like, so I have a rank in Bondo, right? And that was created by this guy, Dr. MG. He's from, I guess, is it Miramar now or is it Burma again? I don't remember.
I think it's Miramar.
Okay. So, you start like there's like a whole, like, they had like a very much like they were like doing leg kicks and like, driving people, running people over, reverse punches. I mean, very hard kind of style of fighting, which I liked. And my brother got me into it. And then it's like, you look at these guys, like resume, and he talks about being in Vietnam and Korea and like all this service and crap like that. And then when you go, you look at their backgrounds, by the time like Vietnam War, I think he was in like, boarding school as a, teenager. He never served in any of these things. And he had all these stories. It's like huge stolen valor. And that's a lot of these people. There's no way to check. I don't even know what half this crap is. I don't know. Shuriru, not Shurinru, Shuriru. right? So I don't know what that is. I don't know what this jujitsu system is. Okay, I know what Taekwondo is. We can get one, you know, I mean, they're all over the place, and who the hell knows? I always like to ask, under who? Where did you get this?
Yeah.
At least we can know where you get it. I mean, the guys that not the guys she's mentioned are, she didn't train with Bruce Lee. Where'd you get it? Where'd you get this?
Dan Innocento.
Filipino, she's one of the handful of full instructor Jiu-Jitsu. And again, I don't know when. And okay, I don't know. You know, it's like like a lot of this stuff, I don't know. You know, and I can do a whole thing on like the Filipino martial arts, and I don't know, I'm pissing people off, but generally just a huge waste of time. Do you remember the Dog Brothers?
No.
They used to do stick fighting and grappling, right? So they're like, okay, we're doing like all in stick fighting. Okay. So they'd all get there. There's, you know, not a Sinawale, not anything. They would just run at each other, and kind of the sticks got in the way. You know? Usually a dude would like choke a guy out on the ground with a stick. And I'm like, that's cool. But it's like when we were training in this stuff, it was like, oh yeah, you know, you're doing the Sinawales with the freaking sticks, and it's way too complicated. First of all, the rattan sticks, they're like, oh, you know, you could, you know, cut somebody. I'm like, from what I understood, and the way like some of the like old World War II guys who were over in the Philippines, you know, that saw this stuff, and like they would train with the rattan sticks like they were a bolo, like where they were a sword. And I go, oh, did you watch them work out? They're like, yeah, they look like they were fencing. He's like, it looked like Errol Flynn, right? So these guys are like fencing, which, okay, makes sense. They're not doing all this stuff got complicated, really complicated. And the stuff with the knife, come on. It's like such a huge waste of freaking time to do
Your 36 angles of attack.
That's right.
grip it, protect it, put the pointy end in the other guy as fast as you can. Repeat. You know, it's just holy crap. And then the defanging of the snake with the stick and they're like, what? I'm like, and that's always we talk about, like, you know, with the rattan sticks, because from what originally what I understood is like those were okay. We're not gonna use swords. It's like using you know, shinai and kendo, right? So we're like, we're gonna use the rattan. Now that became the weapon, and now, you know, a rattan stick, like I've been hit with one. I mean, it's not pleasant, but it's not a bat. It's not a lead pipe. It's not, you know, a baton. It's a piece of rattan, no matter how thick it is. You know, and it's like, it doesn't have the weight to do really anything. And then unless you're like really like slamming somebody, the way they're tapping and crap, what are we doing? You know, that's not hurting anybody. Yet you're taught to believe you tap someone, that's like a kill shot. It's nuts. And that's how you get to where this is what you're looking at. You've got everyone feeding into this. That it's that cult group mind think where, you know, everyone's like bullshitting each other. And it's like, yeah, sure. Okay, let's all pat each other on the back, give each other another stripe on the belt, and call it a day.
Yep.
So, anyway. So, yeah. So that's, you know, don't do that. So, yeah. Anyway. So, yeah, Josh, we wanted to talk some tricks of the trade. We can segue into that.
For sure.
So now wrap like 8,000 hours into 10 minutes.
Yeah. So basically, for those that didn't watch last week's episode, this ended with me talking about how I had an emergency preparation discussion with my friend and his family. And his big concern, so he's got like a little homestead and he's pretty well off, like a lot better off than he thinks he is, and a lot better off than most people are. But he's one of these guys that's always super anxious about like life and the world and just things going on and stuff.
That's why he has a homestead.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know, probably, yeah, we get it. Got it.
Yeah. And so anyways, you know, he was getting really concerned about bugging out and stuff like that. And he was like, what kind of bag should I buy? How big should it be? What material should it be? What should I put in it? Like all those kinds of questions. And I was like, dude, let's just sit down. You guys, you can make me lunch. Like, you don't need to pay me. You're my friend. Like, we'll just sit down, make me lunch. We'll hang out for a few hours and I'll talk about this stuff. And so we did. And so basically, Damian was like, well, why don't we talk about this? So here it is, guys. All right. So there are multiple levels of preparation, right? Especially when it comes to like bugging out or being like geared up, so to speak. Okay. The first layer is on your person, right? Now, on your person has 2 levels in and of itself. Obviously, you have like what's carried in your pockets. Well, you know, a lot of times what we would consider everyday carry items, things like that. Although if you're bugging out or whatever, you can put more stuff in your pockets. And then you have the things that you attach to your person. So that would be like, you know, if you have like an LBE or a flick or plate carrier. And if I'm saying all these acronyms, you guys don't know what they are, let me know.
What's an LBE? Start with that.
All right, LBE is load bearing equipment. It's like those old school Vietnam era ones where it was like an HVAC harness.
Okay.
And then it had a little belt on it,
Yeah.
right? So that was the LBE, and then it evolved into the flick, which is the fighting load carrier, which basically is like a full vest that you wear, so you can just put more stuff on it, and it's a little more better weight distribution.
Okay.
You know, whatever you want, it doesn't matter. You know, or a plate carrier, right? Plate carrier obviously is like where you stick your body armor into, and so you've got your plate carrier, and most plate carriers have like MOLLE attachments. And so then you can attach pouches and things like that. And then a lot of people with their plate carriers will also get like battle belts, which then you can attach stuff to your battle belts. Doesn't matter but that's like your second level of your level 1, which is on your person, right? Because it's going to be attached to you. And then the next level above that would be what I would consider your light bag, which is like an everyday bag or a reconnaissance bag, right? Let's say you're actually out bugging out, right? And you're not going to want to carry all your big heavy gear, you know, everything that you're carrying with you if you're going to go recon an area. So you drop all that stuff, you know, with your family or friends or whoever you're with, because you shouldn't do any of this by yourself. That's a horrible idea. Let's start with that.
Right.
You need a survival team. All right. Pick your survival team, stick with them. Okay. So but recon is important. So you drop your stuff. You're like, okay, I'm going to go recon. And so you take a lighter bag, right? So in this light bag, this would be like something that you could keep in your car all the time. Hey, the what's it called? The Elite Bodyguard backpack is like the perfect size. I was looking at it today.
All right, good to know.
Yeah, it's about 25 liters. Depending on how much stuff you want to carry every day, you could go smaller. I personally like about the 15-liter size, but you can't fit body armor in it, right? So the 15-liter size is typically like your day hike camelback bag, right?
Okay, right, yeah.
So it's got a couple extra little pouches. You can throw some stuff into it, and then you got your water pouch.
So
right?
I know you're gonna get into what's in the bags. So what's in the box? So yeah, I'll keep my mouth shut. All right, keep going. I know.
No, you're good. You're good. Again, if you guys have any questions, please send it. People, if you're watching, if you got questions, send them too. You know, if we got to break this up into more than one part, we can obviously do that.
Probably we're gonna want to do that.
But anyway, so that would be your level 2, which is your light bag, right? Now you need to recognize that with your light bag, if you actually go into a bug out situation, right, this would be like your everyday carry bag. You're actually going to take your light bag and you're going to either transfer this stuff into a bigger bag, which is now level 3, which is your actual bug out bag, right? And so you're going to either transfer that stuff into your bigger bag or actually have redundancy items that are duplicated from your light bag to your bigger bag. And you're gonna actually strap your lighter bag to your bigger bag. So that, you know,
like you just grab and go, right?
Right, exactly. So it's not like you're like, oh, I have this little bag, but why do I also need a bigger bag? You know, like you're just gonna attach it to it. Now you have a bigger bag that's got a smaller bag with it, right?
Right.
And if you're one of those people that doesn't want all those redundancy items, you can just transfer them to your bigger bag. And then if you have to recon or whatever, you take that smaller bag off, put some supplies into it, and then leave, right? Now, your bigger bag, based on how much you want or need to carry, you either go a medium-sized bag or a large-sized bag. Medium-sized bags are the size of, I pulled up my notes and I didn't. Medium size, I think, is like 30 to 45 liters. And then there it is. So I will tell you. So medium sized bag is 30 to 45 liters, and a large bag is 55 liters or above, right? Those are like huge, like
big bags. Yeah.
Those are massive bags. And again, you put in whatever you want to carry or think you can carry. So I like to tell people this story. So when I was still in the military and I was like, hey, I'm going to start getting prepared emergency stuff and, bug out bags and blah, 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 blah. I have still this gigantic, like the extra large size Marine Corps rucksack.
Right.
And I loaded that thing till it was like bursting at the seams with like everything I thought I possibly needed. Now, me and my friend were like, hey, we should take our emergency bags and go like out into the woods and go on a hike and like actually give it a test, right? Try our gear, stuff like that. So this is what I was doing, airborne infantry, and I was rucking everywhere all the time, like best shape for that kind of stuff.
Right.
And I put that bag on, and I tell you, it took us 4 hours to go 3 miles.
Oh.
We had to stop. We had to stop every like 600 meters to rest because the bags were so heavy.
And that's sort of like when I see that, especially like in movies, right? Where guys are like, I'm like, yeah, and doing that like through a jungle, or just like rough terrain where you're like, dude, that's like, you're going to go a mile and you're done.
Yeah. We legitimately thought we went the wrong direction because on this trail, we were hiking to a lake, and you go one way, it's 3 miles. You go the other way, it's 15 miles. And we had never been there before. And it was taking so long that we thought we went the other way because we're like, we're like 3 miles. We can walk this in an hour or less. And it took us like 4 hours to get there, right? So this guy actually passes us on the trail, and we're like, hey, are we going the right direction? He's like, hey, you guys are good. He's like, like another mile and a half to go. We're like, oh, okay, thanks. So then we get there, and we're like, that was the longest 3 miles we ever had. Right. And so again, talking about, I carry, like at that time I was carrying, 50 to 100 pound packs on the regular.
Yeah.
And I could hardly carry this pack 3 miles.
That's crazy.
Right?
But you bring up, you bring up another good point where it's, if you're planning on doing this and you're doing this seriously, there must be a level of fitness.
Oh, for sure.
You got to prepare for it. Like you got to rock, man. You got to go walk with weight on. And if you in your mind think you're actually going to move more than like 5 or 6 miles in a day, you have to go train. Yeah.
All right. So back to the bag sizes. So medium bag or large bag based on how much you can carry and how much you think you can carry and how much you want to carry. I will say, and I've said this before, there's a saying in the survival industry, you can have a lot of gear or you can have a lot of skills. So pick or choose.
Right. I'm more of a gear guy, I'm guessing.
Most people are. I will tell you, when I finished my survival instructor course, I came home and I like downsized my bag drastically, and I'm still downsizing it. I'm like, I don't need that. I don't need that.
Right. Yeah. I'll take it. Like, oh my God. Yeah.
And then the last level is your vehicle and or transportation, right? So, even if it's just a bicycle, basically it's something that you can store bigger, heavier, more, right? Now,
you mentioned bicycle. You mentioned bicycle.
Yeah. So
like, if you've got it, like, let's say, you've got your vehicle set up, like automobile, like 4-wheel drive, whatever. And we talk about that, but then having bikes on that as well, because you can, run out of road, run out of fuel,
run out of tires.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, it's look, machines break.
Yeah. Yeah. And it all comes down to where do you think you're going to try to go, right? So when you're creating your emergency plan, you go, okay, this is obviously my primary location of where my bug out to, my my secondary, so on and so forth, right? And how far are those places, right? Obviously, they usually get further and further and further from each other.
Yeah.
So if you're like, hey, if like me, for example, hey, I'm Mormon, and I'm like, hey, maybe one of my, extreme emergency situations might be going to the Mormon Mecca, Salt Lake City, right? It probably wouldn't be, but let's just throw that out there. So I'm like, how far away is that, right? Oh gosh, that's like 1,300 miles,
Yeah.
And so if I'm trying to go 1,300 miles, how far can I realistically get in my vehicle, and then how far am I realistically going to have to walk, right?
Right.
And so you can plan on that of like, okay, I know I'm going to run out of fuel probably around this point. I should probably get a bicycle or a mule or something
Right.
that I can like store some of my heavier bags on that I can at least walk with, even if I'm not riding.
Right.
Or motorcycles or whatever, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it all comes down to your plan, right? What you think is best for you and what you can actually carry, right? So like I can only carry so much of my sedan versus my minivan versus like my buddy's Suburban. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you got to think about what you can actually accomplish with what you have. And then life goals to expand that, right? If you're like, if I'm like, man, my sedan's just not good enough, I want to get, like a big old truck or something. A life goal, I need to save up and buy a truck.
It's funny because I'm kind of looking at like old Toyota 4Runners.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
And like those roof racks, like when I traveled to Alaska, we got one of those big waterproof roof rack things, and we like threw a bunch of stuff up in there. But you got to think about how to use your space, like
So
it's all not just gonna.
Yeah, so I've got one of those, and then the Jeep's got like racks on it that will strap a whole bunch of crap to it. I just got to go through. I haven't looked at my bug out bag in probably like 8 years. I got to start looking at it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like a shit. I know I got like MREs, water purifier, flints, some weapons, bolt cutters, hammer.
All right. So now let's talk about what goes in these things.
Yes.
Okay. Now, just like with the self-defense company, I believe firmly in sound principles over techniques, and keep it stupid simple.
I like that.
Right? Yep. That's how survival should be. That's how firearms should be. That's how emergency should be. That's how self-defense should be. That's how life should be.
Right.
All right. So based on those principles, think about the rule of threes. So if you guys don't know what the rule of threes are, you have like 30 seconds for massive hemorrhaging, 3 minutes for air, 3 hours for exposure, 3 days for water, 3 weeks for food, and 3 months for isolation.
Interesting. So 3 months by yourself before you lose your mind.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Because I love the show Alone.
Yeah.
And just to watch people struggle with that, and I totally get it.
For sure. Yeah.
Like we were talking about before we jumped on the podcast. My kids are out of the house. My wife is away until Sunday, and I'm like, I'm not used to being alone anymore, right? George probably loving your alone time.
Loving it.
Right? So just you get conditioned to do stuff. and it's just like to be like, especially too with the snow out. There's less people out. Like I was rucking today, and they hadn't plowed anything like down by the park. It was hard. But there's nobody there.
Yeah.
Which the first day was nice, but like day 3, I'm like, all right.
It's like during COVID, you go outside and you're like, what happened to the people?
Yeah. It's like some post-apocalyptic. But yeah, it's interesting. 3 months. And it's funny because mostly I think somebody lasted, I think the record, I should probably look it up, is like maybe 120 days.
Yeah, 3-4 months. And they've done studies, right? Like militaries and psychology universities and stuff like that. The Russians especially have done studies on isolation, right? The Nazis, they did studies on isolation because they wanted to see how people tick, right?
Right.
And so 3 months, and all of these, like these 3 rule of threes are all general parameters, right? Obviously there's people who have gone 9 days without water, right? Yes, it's possible. but generally
101
speaking,
101 days in a row is the record.
yeah.
Yeah.
So 90 days, right? There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So people. I lost my train of thought. Thanks, Damian.
Sorry.
Rule of threes. Rule of threes.
Oh, yeah, rule threes. Yeah.
So isolation studies.
No. Yeah, I was back to the rule of threes. So it varies, right?
Okay.
The rule of threes is like a general rule, right?
Right.
Like it's not, again, like the same kind of thing we talk about all the time. Well, people are like, what if I got shot in the head? Well, it's like, well, people have survived 9 days, and it's like, okay, do you want to bank on the fact that you're going to live 9 days without water?
Right. Trying to set a record that nobody gives a shit about.
Right. It's like, you have humidity conditions, temperature conditions,
Right.
exposure, like all these conditions factor into if you're going to, how long you're actually going to live, right?
Right.
How fast your body processes things. You know what I mean? Like some people just suck up water and some people don't,
Right.
Anyways.
Okay, David Blaine.
Right. So, so the rule of threes, right? So as you're thinking about the gear, right, you're thinking about the principles behind what you're trying to pack and prepare for your emergencies and stuff like that. If you consider the rule of threes and what you want to pack, now you're following sound principles, and it doesn't really matter, it does matter, but it matters a lot less about what types of things you put in, as long as you're covering those bases, right? So on your person, right? So level one, we'll start with level one on your person. Now, a lot of these things are everyday carry items, right? Now, every person has a different everyday carry item set than everybody else.
Right.
But I think there's some essentials, especially if you're serious about self-defense, if you're serious about emergency preparedness and stuff like that. There's some things that you should carry. Number one being a knife, right? A good solid pocket knife should be number one. Okay. Now, all knives are not created equal, just like all other equipment and martial arts and everything else is not created equal. Okay. Yeah, you want to make sure you get a sturdy item, something that's going to stand up, meet your needs. And this is something that a lot of people don't recognize is a knife, just like with any other tool, is a purpose-specific item, right? Meaning there's different kinds of knives for different purposes, right? Like my folding tactical knife is not going to be great for a survival bushcraft situation. I'm going to snap this blade in probably like an hour.
Right.
So you got to think about, what do you want to carry every day in your, for your everyday carry versus, what do you maybe want to keep in your light bag that you store in your vehicle or wherever, right?
But to your point, it also depends on your plan, right?
Absolutely.
Like, if you are not home, we are going to rally with our families, right? Mm-hmm. So you're not gonna, like, you may have stuff in your car, but the reality is, like, I'm going back and getting them.
Right. Yeah. So a lot of people, right. So one of the things I like to call the light bag in my car is my get home bag, right? Instead of my bug out bag, it's my get home bag.
Right.
So it's just enough essentials that I know that, if I'm any given time, within 3 hours of home, what do I need to be able to get back home? Right.
Right.
And so, following those rule of threes, what would I need to get back home? Well, okay. So going back to my person though, before we get to that light bag. So back to my person. So like everyday carry, I carry every day my knife. I carry block picks and I carry bobby pins.
Okay.
And that's it. That's my everyday carry. Right. Yes, I'm a firearms instructor. Yes, I have a concealed carry license. I don't carry my firearm every day.
Yeah, no, me neither. Yeah.
Now, if I know I'm going someplace where it's an actual possibility where I might need it, or a little bit traveling, things like a little further than I normally would, I'm absolutely going to carry it, 100%. Right. Yeah. And my carry is going to adjust. We've talked about this. Your everyday carry should adjust based on your situation and where you're going. Right.
Yeah.
It should be variable. Now, like when I was in Alaska, right, and anytime I go to Alaska, I always carry a means to start fire everywhere I go, right? In the military, It was an inspectable item. You had to have a lighter, chapstick, and duct tape, and it was inspectable, right? What you had to do is take your lighter, wrap your duct tape around your lighter, and chapstick.
Right.
And because chapstick with the petroleum jelly and the duct tape itself are highly flammable, and so no matter what happened to you, anywhere you were at in Alaska, you could start a fire.
Huh.
And so as an inspectable item, I carried it everywhere I went. you know. And so anytime I go back to Alaska, guess what goes in my pocket? My lighter, my chapstick, because that's just smart, right? That becomes my everyday carry. I don't worry too much about how I'm going to start fire when I'm in the city, because there's so many means to start fire in a city,
Like for example,
in a suburb. For example, like your car battery.
Right. Yeah, sure.
For example, just like banging on a neighbor's door or someone's house, right? So like when you talk about urban survival, there's considerations that are different from wilderness survival, you know, and how to procure fire. You know, just walk into any restaurant, you know,
right?
You know, go to the dollar store and get like scrounge enough money to get a 99-cent lighter, like,
right,
you know,
right.
Or it's a real emergency. Honestly, just steal a 99-cent lighter.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah. For what we're talking about, hopefully they'll be there.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, but the point is like, and then that's why I have my light bag in my car, because that has fire starting stuff in it.
Right.
Right. So even if it's not in my person, I know that in my everyday, like literal everyday, I'm no more than maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes from my vehicle. Like I can make it back to my vehicle. I should be able to make it back to my vehicle, barring like a sinkhole or something like just swallowing up my car. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so, you know, I don't carry fire starter stuff with me literally 100% of the time, but it is very close to me.
Right.
Because so the rule of three,
again, just to bring it up, you know, because I think when most people think about, you know, survival, they think about you know, on a desert island someplace, or I'm stuck in the woods, and the most likely scenario, it's happening around your house. So you got to be able to take the resources that are there and just think about that, which, to be honest, I haven't. This makes perfect sense, because
100%. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's the same consideration for I lost my train of thought again. Sorry, guys. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And there's another consideration I was going to say about it, but yeah, you're 100% correct. So
yeah, I mean, because most of the times you're going to probably, I mean, we'll get to this, I'm sure, like shelter in place.
Yeah.
You know, shit like that.
Yeah. I remember what it was. It's the same thing with like statistics for car crashes, right? Most car accidents happen within like 25 miles to your house. That's because you spend most of your life within 25 miles to your house.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right.
So yeah, same kind of thing, right? So you got to think about your location, where you exist, right? If you live in a rural area, you have to take that into consideration, right? You're essentially in the wild, you know?
Yeah.
But if you live in a suburb or a city, like, you know, there's stuff everywhere. Me and my wife have been watching these dumpster diver videos. There's so much stuff. Holy cow.
Right. Yeah. Right. Because people just chuck a lot of shit. Yeah. I mean, a lot of crap out.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So anyways, so you got to think about what you carry. So a lot of the things, you know, if you consider the rule of threes, right? So, you know, you've got your 30 seconds of mass hemorrhaging, right? So how do you address that? Well, a lot of people carry tourniquets on or near their person, right? I carry one in my car. I don't carry one on my person. However, given the situation, one might slip into my pocket.
Right.
Now then you've got the 3 minutes of air. So again, you know, you have a first aid kit on hand, right? You know how to perform, you know, the self-Heimlich, things like that. You know, in the end, there's only so much you can do to address the air for yourself. But, you know, that's why, you know, it pays to be with people most times, everywhere you go, safety in numbers, right? But carrying a first aid kit, right? In my bag, I carry my IFAC, which has like all the trauma stuff, including a nasal pharyngeal airway device. So you can address airway and things like that. And then you've got your 3 hours of exposure, right? So shelter. So, you know, what is shelter on your person, right? People forget about this, but the clothes you wear is your first layer of shelter, right? So wearing proper clothing for the season and your location is highly important. You know, people overdress and underdress all the time, but making sure you're wearing appropriate clothing, that matters. Or having appropriate clothing, again, like, you know, if I'm driving in my car, my jacket might be in the back seat, but I know that it's at least in my backseat within reach, you know. And if I get stranded on the side of the road in Texas when it's 17 degrees, hey, I've got a jacket or two in my backseat.
Right.
You know. So shelter, right? So what are you going to carry on your person? Well, on your person, again, your 3 hours exposure is your layers of clothing. What are you going to wear? And then your 3 days of water. You should have a water bottle with you pretty much everywhere you go, right? I'm notorious for losing my Nalgene's everywhere because I like go walk into some place, my Nalgene sits down on the floor next to me, and I stand up without it. And I go home and I'm like, dang it, I lost my Nalgene again. You know, but you should have a water bottle, or at least you know, a couple water bottles in your car at a minimum, but carry one around with you. I mean, hydration is incredibly important. And in a city, in a you know, in a suburb, finding potable water is much easier than like in the rural. So you don't necessarily need to worry too much about water purifiers and things like that. However, again, in my light bag, guess what I carry? A way to filter water. You know, and then your 3 weeks of food. You know, again, I'm not going to carry this on my person in my pocket unless I'm really hungry, but carry a power bar or two, you know, stick those in your light bag or somewhere in your car, right? I mean, how many stories have we heard of people who get, you know, trapped in a snowbank or, you know, in a 10, 20 car pileup or something, and next thing you know, 8 hours later, they're fishing out, you know, 1-year-old French fries from between their seats, you know? Like, just store a couple of power bars in your car or a tuna packet or something, you know, just in case.
They could go in. You could go 8 hours. What are you doing?
But you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I know. I always love when I go, like when we fly out to California and everyone's like pulling out. I'm like, it's a 6-hour flight. What are you doing? You're not gonna die of scurvy on the plane. I'm like, you know, they're gonna like, oh, I need this, I need snacks, and like I'm like, bro, it's like literally you don't need to eat any. Just you know,
I'm gonna take a nap, and when I wake up, it'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Okay, that's what I said.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Right? You can go 3 weeks without food. You don't need anything. However, in an emergency situation, you are going to be burning calories at an excessive rate. So having a way to, you know, replenish those calories if you start to feel your blood sugar dropping or something like that is important. So carry a, you know, power bar or some tuna packs or something in your car. Usually works pretty good. And again, going back to on my person, right? Now, if I'm bugging out and gearing up, right? Or if you have the, you know, elite Bodyguard backpack, you throw those things in your backpack, and then, or on my plate carrier, I have a pouch where I used to always keep 1 or 2 power bars, right? And so I'm on the go on my person, and now I have, you know, those items, right? So you got to think about, you know, again, not just your everyday, but how you gear up throughout the threat level process, the emergency level process, right? Multi-tool, pen light or headlamp, also great. A lot of times I will carry a pen light either on my person or in my like center console, and then in my light bag is always a headlamp, so that, you know, again, in an emergency at night, like I need to find something in my car, maybe my battery's dead. Yeah, you can use your phone, but what if your phone's dead or dying, or you want to make sure you can have it for when you need actual communication? So having that little pen light works really, really good.
Yep. Also, you're thinking about power outages too.
Oh, for sure.
You know, so yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So again, we had, when Sandy hit here, actually, you know, they cut our power out for like 3 or 4 days. You know, and it was like, and people, if you haven't like experienced that, you know, people get feral like really quickly.
Oh yeah.
It's really crazy because everything becomes life or death. Getting gas, getting you know, getting food, getting to, you know, you're like,
because people aren't prepared. The average American has like only like 4 days of food in their house.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Remember how nuts people went over fucking toilet paper?
Right. Yeah. Well, it's funny because I keep, you know, gas and shit. And I'm like, you know, I just.
Yeah, you keep a stockpile because of emergencies, because you're.
Yes,
you know,
right.
prepared.
So, you know, it's funny because I was pissed. I, you know, because the generator, Andrew's like, "Did you get the gas?" I'm like, "Yes." Because we used it Christmas Eve. I mean, nothing went out. We were fine, but I was like, I don't feel like going out. But, so
You're like, we'll be fine.
exactly. I rolled those dice, dude. But yeah, I'm like, and you're, so we're like, I'm like, I'm not going to the freaking. I'm like, I'm filling up the Jeep here. Like I'm not going to the gas line. Bullshit. Because again, you're exposing yourself to this shit, and shit escalates.
Well,
my mom at the time was like 80. She's like getting in arguments with people. I go, what are you doing?
Yeah.
She cut me. I'm like, these fucking people are, they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
They think you're trying to take food from their children.
Yeah, you're interfering with their livelihood and their family's livelihood.
Yeah. So that's how it gets all. It's like road rage. That's how it gets all amped up. And it was dude. I mean, we just burned a lot of wood. Had our friends had a full house generator, so we went there. And then it was just we just got the dog. So I'm like, we gotta like sit here with him, stay here with him, put him, keep the fire going, and so it gets dicey. I mean, the city, forget about it. I was hearing like crazy stories. Like people turned into rats in the city.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people I've met who are like, I'm like, well, what's your emergency preparedness plan? And they're like, I'm just gonna kill all my neighbors and take all their supplies. And I'm like, you're a psychopath.
He's got a plan. I probably wouldn't have admitted it, but at the time, if it turns out that I have to use it, I'm gonna get away with it. Nobody's gonna know. And by the way, you're the first fucker I'm shooting. So I'm like when they did that Obama film with Kevin Bacon and Ethan Hawke. Did you see that?
I didn't watch it, but I've heard it was really good.
It was good. It was good. I mean, it's like, okay, this looks like a blueprint, which was scary enough after I saw who produced it. But Ethan Hawke, who's like, not prepared, and like Kevin Bacon, who's prepped, came over to get some medicine because he needs some pills and stuff. He's like, and like Ethan Hawke's just like breaking down. It's like, I'm not a man. And Kevin Bacon just has the gun on him. And these guys were friends. But now it's like, Kevin Bacon's like, are you coming to kill me? Because that's a possibility. And it's like, you got your neighbors and you don't know, you don't know until you know. I mean,
which is why you need a survival team. And as soon as stuff starts happening, you start communicating and figuring out what plan you're enacting and consolidating your resources, because safety in numbers, right?
Right.
So, and the bigger your community can be, that's all in on this together, the safer you're all gonna be.
Right. Yeah.
So like the dream would be like if you could make your self-contained community, right? Like if I can make Copper's Cove, like as a community come together, you know what I mean? That would be the dream, because now we're an entire 80,000 strong community. Like who's gonna come mess with us, right?
Right. You literally need an army.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then you always have those selfish people who aren't gonna go with it, which is crazy.
I just got to get 2.5 hours away. My buddy's got like 4 houses in upstate New York.
That's a plan.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. I'm like, there we go. Like shit.
So yeah. So anyways, so that's individual stuff. And then the 3 months of isolation. I always keep a book in my car.
That's a good idea.
Just something to read, something to occupy your mind, right? That's not thinking about the situation. That's really what it's about. But again, this is more of a get home situation to then gear up even more, right? On my person. So you got, again, now that's my get home situation. But once I'm home, now what am I doing? Right now I'm throwing on my plate carrier, which has got all my guns, ammo, IFAK, like zip ties, duct tape, hand sanitizer, TP, like all these things, small fishing kit, like all these things are in my my plate carrier or on my kids' plate carriers, or you know what I mean? Like, and then cross-loading stuff, right? So you have redundancy and you have cross-loading. And so it's redundancy, it's repetitive items in case one breaks or fails or gets lost. Right. And then with cross-loading, you have items that you can share throughout the group that one person carries, so that all the weight isn't on one person, right? So
all right, and that seems like a good place to stop, because then we can go bugging out next week.
Yeah, we can talk about our bags next week.
That's right.
All right, man. So yeah, thanks everybody for joining us. Looks like we had a decent group, even though that one of the Facebook streams went down. If you want to connect with us underneath, there's links to our stuff. There's links to Josh. So, go right ahead, hit that stuff. Guys, good podcast. Again, awesome. Thank you very much. And everybody, thank you for joining. Tim, good to see you posting and commenting again. Great to have you here. Until next time, everybody, train honestly.